The details are beyond disturbing. We'll tell you about them. And former NPR radio host Garrison Keillor, Prairie Home companion, and his relationship with Minnesota Public Radio is now terminated over accusations of inappropriate behavior. These are just the latest misconduct claims that are rocking the liberal media and the political establishment. And also tonight, a brand new scandal swirling around one of the most prominent Democrats in Congress. And the president today delivers a powerful message on the need for massive tax cuts and reform to boost the economy, while you have arrogant, lazy, obstructionist Democrats, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, doing everything they can do to stop this from happening. Now, this all comes as Senate Republicans are now finally moving towards a vote on this tax bill. And the best crybaby story of all time, we'll tell you about CNN and the White House. That's coming up. Also tonight, I have a very personal decision to make, and I will need your help. That's coming up at the end of the broadcast. We hope you'll stick around. But first, tonight's important breaking news opening monologue. All right, longtime Today Show host Matt Lauer has been fired over what the network says is alleged inappropriate sexual behavior. According to NBC, the sexual misconduct allegation was made against Lauer on Monday, and it involved accusations during the 2014 Winter Olympics that would continue in the office. Now tonight, Page 6 of the New York Post is reporting that NBC staffers, including a young intern, are now accusing Lauer of texting them lewd pictures and graphic messages. Now, a source told the New York Post that one of the photos is so damning that NBC was forced to act immediately. And if that's not shocking enough, Variety is out with a bombshell report tonight where multiple women are accusing Lauer of sexual harassment. We have to warn you, the details are very disturbing. Now, according to Variety, Lauer allegedly gave a female coworker a sex toy as a present and included a very graphic note about how he wanted to use it on her. And it gets worse. A different female employee told Variety that Lauer called her into his office, then dropped his pants. He exposed himself. And when the accuser refused his advances, he then yelled at her. And Variety is also reporting that Lauer allegedly would play games where he would tell colleagues which Today Show co-hosts he'd like to sleep with. And by the way, it's not all. It gets worse. Two women accusing Lauer of sexual harassment also told Variety that he had a secluded office. It included a button under the desk that he used to lock the door that gave him privacy to pursue these women. And finally, according to Variety, several women say they told NBC management about what was going on with Lauer, but they never did anything to stop it. And the Daily Beast is reporting that NBC says current management was never made aware of any harassment allegations. Also, the New York Times reporting tonight that NBC is receiving two new complaints against Matt Lauer. A former female NBC employee told the New York Times that in 2001, Lauer called her into his office, then allegedly had sex with her. And according to the Times, the woman says she felt helpless about what happened and didn't want to speak out for fear of losing her job. Now, we did reach out to Matt Lauer's agent for a comment earlier today. We have not heard back. And also tonight, it's the Christmas tree lighting in New York City. It happened an hour ago. And according to Page 6, New York Post, NBC tried to edit Lauer out of its coverage. Now, while these allegations against Matt Lauer may be shocking to you watching at home, of course, according to reports, Lauer's alleged behavior was an open secret. There's also disturbing video that has now surfaced. TMZ obtained a video from 2006 where Lauer appears to be making a lewd comment to one of his female co-hosts. Take a look at it.
These are just crosstalks, and I'll meet you outside.
Okay, see ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm going. Pretty sweater. Keep bending over like that. It's a nice view.
Then back in 2012, Katie Couric told Bravo this about Matt Lauer. Let's look at this.
You co-hosted the Today Show with Matt Lauer for 15 years. What is Matt's most annoying habit?
He pinches me on the ass a lot.
Wow!
And during that same year, the Today Show did a comedy skit where Morning Joe co-host Willie Geist, he slapped Matt Lauer's behind, and then Lauer pretended to be a victim of sexual harassment. Watch this.
Caught on tape, surveillance cameras are rolling as Willie's hand goes in for the swat. Did you see it? Here it is again from another angle. The owner of that derriere breaking his silence.
I was standing by the doorway in the vestibule, and Willie came out, and I just said, hi Willie, how are you? And I thought that would be the end of it, and then he reached out and, you know.
Yes, we do. Watch what happens next. Matt slaps back. Is there more to this story? Some would look at this and say, you did something to provoke this.
It's impossible. I didn't do anything differently. I wasn't wearing a different cologne. This was uninitiated. I'm upset for a couple of reasons. One, that he denied it. I mean, why deny it? I mean, if you do it, own up to it.
We should go to Dustin Hoffman and ask his opinion of this. I think he can
What do you
shed
think?
some light on
Dustin,
this.
Appropriate, inappropriate?
Should I answer?
Yes.
I'm a little confused. Did Willie swat him with his willy, or?
All right, not funny and kind of creepy given the allegations now being made against Matt Lauer. But he's not the only person who was fired today over sexual harassment allegations. Former NPR radio talk show host Garrison Keillor, you may remember, Prairie Home Companion. He's also facing sexual misconduct accusations tonight. Now, Keillor was fired by Minnesota Public Radio after two staffers made complaints against him. And Keillor responded to one of the accusations by telling the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, quote, I put my hand on a woman's bare back. I meant to pat her back after she told me about her unhappiness, and her shirt was open and my hand went up at about 6 inches. She recoiled. I apologized. I sent her an email of apology later, and she replied that she had forgiven me and not to think about it. We were friends. We could continue to be friendly right up until her lawyer called. Here with reaction, Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi. From The Hollywood Reporter, we have Marissa Guthrie and trial attorney Rebecca Rose Woodland. Thanks to all of you. I don't even know where to begin. It's like more coming out by the minute about what has really been going on at NBC, and all of it is despicable.
It's horrific. And I have to ask, what did NBC management know here? Matt Lauer allegedly had a button under his desk. Someone had to install this button that would lock the door from his desk.
Yeah, so, I don't think he did it himself.
Well, these are the questions. These are the big questions. If he was acting alone, how could he have done this with a button under his desk, asking people to come to his hotel rooms to bring pillows? Someone had to know. These women claim that they reported it, not to current management, but to previous management,
Keep
and
reading
nothing
the word
happened.
Abuse, not just misconduct.
Abuse. Because if you're locked in a room, Sean, that amounts to much more than an interaction. That amounts to enclosed in a space that could seem like force.
These things are not consensual. This is where we're now, and it's also the position of power issue that keeps coming up again and again.
Yeah,
now we haven't really heard from Matt Lauer today.
No.
He doesn't seem to be denying anything or saying anything. What do we glean from that?
Well, I think Matt, and he now has some independent publicists working with him, and they were waiting for these other reports and these other accusations before they said anything. I expect they will release some sort of statement, but yes, the entitlement of Matt Lauer, Charlie Rose, Harvey Weinstein, and the fact that what all of these have in common is the behavior was an open secret, and nobody did anything about it.
Well, let me go to Pam Bondi, because I think there are also legal issues that come in here. What do you, as you read all of this, legally speaking, do you see any potential trouble for him? And I'm not talking about civilly.
Well, certainly, depending on what Rebecca just laid out, whether the door was locked, exactly what these women say. But, Sean, I think there also may be a lot of liability on the part of Andy Lack. I think he's going to have a lot of explaining to do. As a prosecutor, Sean, I always look at a timeline. Look at the timeline here. Variety and the New York Times had been investigating this, they said, for 2 months. So that takes us back to September. Then on November 8th, NBC announces mysteriously that Matt Lauer's no longer going to the Olympics. It's going to be Megyn Kelly, and congratulations to her for that. Then On November 27th, 2 days ago, Andy Lack says that's the first time that they've heard about these allegations against Matt Lauer. So there may be, I think Andy Lack's going to have a lot of answers that he's going to have to be responding to his superiors at NBC. Because let me make myself clear, these women are heroes for coming forward.
Why? I'm trying to understand, because one person comes out and then there's always this avalanche.
Sure.
Which tells me so many that there's a pattern of behavior in all of this. With
Sean,
all these, as a prosecutor, as the Attorney General, obviously of Florida, is that common? Like one, then five, then 10?
Very common. I'm sorry, there's a bit of a delay tonight. Very common, Sean. In fact, that's what we see. One woman, it takes one woman to come forward, and that's why the Me Too movement is so important. And if a woman comes forward in Florida against some loser in Tallahassee, I'm going to stand beside her. And I think all women will for anyone who comes out around this country, whether it's some icon in Hollywood or whether it's someone huge in the media industry. But one woman comes forward, that's all it takes. And then other women say, we can't be scared anymore. We can come forward as well.
Do you also always have to have the presumption of innocence, Pam?
Of course you do. That's why the women have to come forward. I've always said that, and that's why these brave women are coming forward. Now, as Rebecca described, if they truly could have been the victim, and we don't know any of that yet, of a rape, of a sexual assault, if that's true, then their identity by law will be protected. Yeah. No one can reveal their identity, and they deserve to be protected as victims of a sexual assault if that is the case, but we do not know that yet. And of course, anyone is innocent until proven guilty, but you can't take it further unless women continue to come forward. So very important.
I agree with Pam wholeheartedly. She's a great prosecutor in Florida. We need someone like that here in New York. We already have a task force around Harvey Weinstein in New York, in California. Possibly this task force will increase its scope for Matt Lauer or whomever else at NBC may happen upon. There may be more here. You know, his booker was fired. Mr. Zimmerman was fired already for inappropriate sexual conduct. Now, this is someone who was with Matt Lauer throughout the course of his time at NBC. I find that questionable. I find that odd that he was fired. Now Matt Lauer has been let go, apparently only as a result of something NBC found out on Monday. I agree with Pam Bondi that that sounds questionable as well.
Well, Ann Curry described the Today Show as a boys' network when she was ousted, and I think we're seeing evidence of that in these reports, for sure.
Pam, you were saying?
Sean, Savannah Guthrie is a friend. She's one of the nicest people I know, and she got blindsided this morning because she believed in Matt Lauer. I'm sure she still does. It's her friend. And, you know, she had to read that statement on the air this morning, and I felt for her. I felt for Hoda, as well as all the other women at NBC. But the women have to come forward, and I think other women will stand.